Coach, you understand that is breaking all rules. Regardless of it's incumbent on the winning team to adhere to most of the rules. Juwan was trying to teach his kids, so he was still pressing. With an underachieving season, you are blowing out a top 5 preseason team with the top recruiting class this year and next year in the nation. Okay, you call 2 timeouts, and no one is thinking that this is maybe premeditated, based on the fact that he's not only the Big Ten's top recruiter, but the nation's top recruiter in what, 3 years?
Right.
Based on him being a member of one of the most hated teams in NBA, in sports history, in the Fab Five. The animus surrounding Juwan Howard became so crazy that people forgot that this dude was always the peacekeeper. I'm not trying to hear this bullshit where people say, well, this is what we see. If you look on social media, people were calling Juwan Howard all kinds of crazy stuff. As a writer who makes sure, especially as a reporter, who makes sure I have to read people, I have to know what they're thinking almost before they come in the room. When you go hard on someone for an aggressive, whatever you want to call Juwan Howard, smacks, punch, mug, you didn't like the dude in the first place. When you, as you grow older in this society, and you see how the media shapes minds, you say to yourself, are people this motherfucking stupid to where they're just going to see the context of this dude, of mugging, smacking, punching, whatever you want to call it, and that's his character? Look, I'm an honest man. I want people to be honest with me when they speak to me. When I see an honest response, that's what I take your word for. The honest response was, this dude should have been fired. That's what everybody was saying. All the coons all around were saying, I hope he don't get fired. He might get fired, but I hope he don't get fired. Please, Master, don't fire Juwan Howard. I don't care what the dominant society says about the moment. We as Black people specifically, in every regard, I'm not saying Greg Gard should have been suspended for 5 games or the rest of the season. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is what he did is just as bad. He was John Green that threw the cup. He does not stop Juwan Howard by touching him, which is something white men think they can do to Black men. They've always done this. Juwan Howard said, I'll remember this shit, and was walking by. The fact that he stopped him means that he was trying to antagonize Juwan Howard the entire game. I didn't actually see what transpired. As I walked upstairs to the office, after watching the game, I said, this game's over with. I know Michigan has always been this exemplary sportsmanship type school. I will not allow America to paint this moment just as Juwan Howard smacking the shit out of who should have been smacked the shit out of. Period. Everybody's saying all this bullshit. Well, coaches, leaders of men, this and that, sportsmanship, he shouldn't have done it. No one is saying in a context, great guard, why are you stopping this man after you have blown him out? It was the first time in 11 years that Wisconsin had beaten Michigan by double digits. Coaches know that. The student body knows it. Everybody knows it. So, of course, you're going to rub Michigan's nose in it when you're beating them by double digits, especially in a season where they have underachieved. Every player on that bench, including Phil Martelli, is learning something about athleticism this year because Michigan put together all of these gifted players almost in like a Fab Five sense. The year hasn't played out like it should. What is going to happen because of the foolishness and the I'm going to cuss so much. It's like when you go to a basketball game or a football game and the fans think that booing a player actually matters in their favor. What that does is poke the bear. I don't care what people are saying about Michigan and Juwan Howard right now. This is going to make this program much stronger. The only reason why they probably did not fire him is because they knew they would lose this entire class here and the recruits next season. That's the only reason why. Let's not fool ourselves here. In every instance, that black man is fired. Because people say he shouldn't deserve the job in the first place. Played on this Fab Five, all arrogant team, bald head, back socks, all this kind of stuff. It's Chris Webber's fault. I'm hearing that too. Look, man. Look. I'm, it's crazy that these moments always happen in sports. And you got all these black people out here. This ain't about race. This got nothing to do with race. Despite their foot being our neck for the last 500 years. All of these little singular incidents we see is not racist. Am I calling Greg Gard a racist? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the entitlement that he had in that moment to put his hands on Juwan Howard and expect a 6'10" dude who's just off becoming playing in the NBA, he wanted to whoop Greg Gard's ass right there. And to be honest, I wish he would have. Okay? All this morality bullshit needs to be all-encompassing. It needs to come from that side as well. Not us all the time, expected to be the bigger person. Who's calling Greg Gard a weasel except for me and a couple other people? Who's saying he started this shit? Besides me and a couple other people. The morality goes all the way around since you're talking about college sports. Greg Gard should be held to the same standard as Juwan Howard is being held to, because nobody in America knew his goddamn name outside of the Big Ten before that incident. He gets no credit from me. You saw his expressions during the game, after the game, during the incident. They was almost like this WWE dude. And all the cameras were panning in on this little Chucky-like expressions he was making. No one wants to call this dude evil. You know damn well a lot of coaches are jealous and envious of Juwan Howard and his ability to bring the top recruits back to Ann Arbor. There ain't no context for this. This dude's just going to be judged on a slap in the head from a dude that probably says something real crazy. Why do they get the benefit of the motherfucking doubt? Why are we as black people giving them the benefit of the motherfucking doubt?
I once had a game some years ago. My partner during the game got mad, teed up the coach, had a fan thrown out, didn't know that fan was another ref, high-level college official, that he was throwing out the gym because the whole section heckled him. He didn't like it. And so he picks out this one guy, has him escorted out. Coach comes over and says, Rodney. I say, yes, coach. He says, I'm just trying to ask how that was a blocking foul. And I asked politely, and he teed me. I said, did he ask you not to ask him any questions? He said, yes. I said, did he ask you more? Did he tell you more than once you couldn't ask him anything? He said, yes. I said, well, then you probably shouldn't have asked him anything. So I'm saying that to say, you get what comes with something when someone warns you. You get what comes with it if you won't stop. Juwan Howard, you can see Juwan Howard telling him more than once to let me go, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you, but I'm going to remember this. And he's trying to walk past him. And the guy's insistent on, no, we need to have this conversation right now. First of all, that handshake line, just to give the perception of sportsmanship at the end of games, is not smart.
Especially
you have
rivalry games.
A very emotional game. You have a game sometimes that's extremely physical, where guys have been woofing at each other, talking crazy. You got security around there for a reason, because they are there to try to make sure nothing breaks out during the game and then after the game. And now you got these two emotionally just physically charged players, teams, walking past each other, and they're supposed to all of a sudden turn it off like a light switch and shake hands and say, hey, good game. Even though just maybe 30 seconds earlier, oh, that guy got away with giving me a shot to my rib cage with an elbow, and the officials didn't catch it. Or I got hit in the mouth, but they deemed it incidental contact, and I'm still bitter because my tooth is loose and my lip is busted. And the guy who popped me, we've been into it before. Or it could just be as simple as we've been talking trash to each other. That guy held me 3 for 12 shooting, and he had 25 on me, and I don't like him. It doesn't matter what the case is. You got all of those emotions built up in a high-level, nationally televised game, and then you make those teams walk by each other and shake hands and act as if the past 2 hours didn't happen. Mind you, some of these guys are talking and woofing at each other all season on Twitter. That's the only reason I got Twitter. It's really, I mean, so I could see what players were talking about, because it started with me with Jordan Farmer from the Lakers, and he was in a Twitter beef with, was it Brandon Jennings?
Yeah.
I want to say Brandon Jennings.
Who,
but it was getting really heated. So I'm like, let me get on Twitter because I want to know what's going on.
Right. Was this 1990?
No.
You talking about Jordan Farmar?
Yes.
Yeah.
From UCLA?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
As when he was
no, I got you.
Leaving the Lakers.
Pause that real quick, right? Let me introduce. So listen, don't be offended, Jay. Rodney doesn't pronounce anyone's last names correctly. outside of his family and the easy ones. He could say Carter. He could say Tillery. He butchers everybody else. I'm surprised he got Jennings. I mean, hey, Rodney, say Mike Krzyzewski.
Coach K.
Rodney called him Krzyzewski. He called Jordan Farmer. That's my dude. But hey, he does not listen. He's a brilliant guy, but he does not concentrate on last names. So just understand that. It's all good. Let me introduce the podcast. Yo. This is episode 91 of the Collective Podcast. What up, Z? This is episode 91 of the Collective Podcast. I am AC from LA. My man Saucier Sr. and my man HardCorePeace, Anthony Carter, Rodney Saucier, and Mike Tillery. My bad, Rodney Saucier Rogers and Mike Tillery. We got a good morning from Elaine out in, Baylor country, and a shout from Jimmy Mack, the antagonist extraordinaire. He clearly hasn't gotten warmed up yet because we don't have any comments from him. Let me play this real quick because I'm about to go to Bluetooth, so we won't be able to have music. Just want to introduce this that I was on the late train on.
Yeah. Can I?
Such simplistic use of Beyonce in a song, but just made all the difference.
Bring you to the 6 where I really stay. Show you why I am and where I am.
It's Drake featuring Beyonce. Can I? I'm late with it, but it's amazing. Hey, you guys go ahead and talk. I'm about to transfer to Blue, and then I'll get back to it.
I just, I really hope that, we as a people stop this, little soft response to white folks doing things, but then want to snatch each other's neck off when we do something similar. I can't imagine if the context was different, where Greg Gard was black and Juwan was white. I don't know how we're going to get out of this subservience. This quick to judge each other first, instead of looking at the entire context of things and the history of things, and the perception of white coaches to black. Especially in the fact that we're in this whole coaching discussion right now. And nothing happened. They gave Lovie Smith a token job. If they would have given him the job initially, then Deshaun Watson still might be playing there. I'm seeing some very strong and intelligent black people only hold Juwan Howard accountable here. And of course, the message of seeing a coach smack another coach is the wrong message to send. No one, and I repeat, no one is absolving Juwan Howard of smacking his coach. No one. Yet even when you say that and you repeat it, and you repeat it, and you repeat it, and you 1,000 times over repeat it, that doesn't mean he should have smacked the dude. Like who is saying that Juwan Howard wasn't wrong?
Right.
No one's saying that. No one's saying that at all. Like there is a cut and dry, simple cause and effect thing to this that needs to be said and said over. And the irony of it all is, it occurred on the same day as the late great Sidney Poitier's birthday, who was known for smacking, his antagonist, and being the first time a black man smacks a white man on camera. It was such a big thing back then. I remember my parents just talking about it later on. if we saw ourselves on the same level as we articulate white folks, a different context will come out of this.
You know what, Mike? Hold on one second, Mike. I got something. Rod, did you finish about Twitter? Because I want to speak to what Mike is saying, but I did shut you down.
Oh, yeah. Just in a nutshell, these guys get heated prior to games, and they go back and forth on Twitter, and the emotion starts long before the game even ever takes place. And then at the end of games, you have these guys basically turning off their emotions to shake hands with the people they were just in battle with, and then give press conferences. Well, not college, but in sports,
there's two players and there's
give press conferences at the end of games when they're still emotionally charged, and I've just never been cool with that.
Okay, so makes a lot of sense. And when Rodney knows about this, and I can't really speak through it because I think there may be some legal action coming. But when you look at a situation, college sports, you have an official confront another official in the field of play, jabbing in the face, cursing, and the offended official responds not in kind, but just says, get your hands out of my face, doesn't curse back, doesn't get aggressive, and either winds up with the same penalty as the idiot or gets a stiffer penalty. And then the offended party is like, I should have smacked him.
That's the point.
Like,
That's
if I should have smacked him, right?
To get
like,
your money's
Mike,
worth. I mean,
right.
I should have never
smacked
caught
him.
in this country. It's never really, it's never respected. Cause and effect is just not respected. You guys know as officials what you're just speaking about. The first dude never gets the harder penalty. He
Right.
caused the whole fracas. He was John Green.
Right. Yep.
Paint it as it happened. Don't mimic all these pundits on TV. They're saying, Juwan Howard, I don't care what happened. He should have never done that. That's the obvious thing. We know that as fathers and men. Okay, that's the obvious thing.
And that's the key. The shouldn't have done it, Mike, right? It's not mutually exclusive of the other shouldn't have done it. So we got that part. Yeah, Juwan's response was Juwan's response. But now let's dig deep into where this response came from, because Juwan doesn't walk around, as far as we know, smacking people in the face. So what precipitated this? And is that behavior unacceptable? Let's at least talk through it. Let's at least investigate it. Let's at least have it as part of the discussion. Let's not just dismiss it.
I can tell you this, and this it happens to be true no matter what the situation is. If public outcry speaks to Greg Gard being punished more heavily, he gets punished more heavily.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
That's just where it is. Public outcry was to the point that Juwan Howard led off ABC World News Now. Okay? And at that point, I thought he was going to get fired because people outside of the sport and the way the media painted this thing is just showing the smack. I said, Juwan's gone. Juwan's gone. Ward Manuel and the Big Ten knew that every player on Michigan's team just became more close to Juwan Howard. And almost, I would say, every college basketball player, okay, who sees the moment in a true context says, I would play for that dude any day of my life. That team snapped when Juwan smacked, okay, because as their leader, they followed him. It would have been a team mutiny if they fired that coach. I wish they would have. Because I didn't appreciate Ward Manuel's initial response. Okay, him saying, okay, master, let me call Wisconsin's president and athletic director and apologize. They didn't apologize. That was the statement that was made that every outlet picked up. Not that, yo, y'all better check your coach, or we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. What, like, I can't for the life of me. I don't know how I'm going to continue in this society. This is where this is going. I'm talking about seriously going back to, with the nurses that I have here that are from Ghana and Liberia. Like, I am seriously considering moving to Africa. I will not live my life as a second-class citizen any longer. I will speak to how we should be portraying ourselves every moment of my life. There will not be no smile for the camera. There will not be no, let me make this little white lady over here comfortable. Even though what I have in my heart is the truth. The truth will forever be spoken. Why aren't we doing this? Aren't we sick of this? Even the black men that I'm talking to, like I talk to some big time college coaches. I talk to some big time sons of college coaches. All of them kept saying to me, but Jawan shouldn't have did it no matter what. He's a leader. They may mention in a short, very faint, fleeting, critical moment of guard, that rage for him or that accountability directed him fades away really quickly, and it goes, but Jawan, I don't teach my sons to be no cowards. I don't teach my sons to stand down and put their head down and walk in the middle of the street when a white couple comes by. You will prominently be yourself. If we were prominently ourselves, the narratives of this would be so different, because we would initially came out and said, yes, Jawan was patently, crazily wrong. Yet this dude over here escaped with a $10,000 fine, which is $100 to him. $10.
That's the worst part of it for me.
Okay. And what they're saying is, no matter what they do to us, we cannot respond accordingly. Every man knows that in the street, Greg Gard would be bloody, laying against the wall somewhere. Honest, I mean,
AC said that the other day.
That's and Mike, I did, and that. Listen, here's a message to all of you who feel like this message is for you. Be happy that you are doing this in front of 1,000 cameras, whoever you are, because it would go completely different in the parking lot, on the street, behind the building, like where you're not under protection of the public eye. You get so bold in front of the cameras, and then you're meek as a mouse everywhere else. And we are left to hold all of our emotions and senses in check because we are held to a higher standard. And as I'm stating, even when you don't slap him in the face, they want to hold you accountable for his actions in college sports.
That $10,000 fine was a joke. That part, like I just spoke to AC about the other day, on a different situation, is what I don't like. Because each time there's a situation that happens like this, it's kind of like, well, let's just do something to him to make it seem like we're punishing both people. That $10,000 fine is not a punishment. It's not even a deterrent for the next handshake line. He would with $10,000 is a kid's birthday party money for him. He'll turn right back around, and in the next line, if he pisses another coach off or players, he'll have the same response because that does nothing to prevent that type of action from recurring again. And not that 40,000 is going to be a lot to Jawan, but there needs to be some kind of equal punishment for it. Yes, he slapped him. He got to 5 games. Okay. But the fine shouldn't be any different. You know, increase guards fine to 50,000, 60,000 just to make me feel better. You don't have to suspend him. He didn't slap
he
anybody.
needs to be
You don't have
suspended to me. He gotta be suspended because
but
if he's
but
not
even if they
suspended,
don't, and I get that, and you get
you gotta
that,
send a
but
message to the
even if
kids. You gotta send a
right,
message to kids as well that the weasel cannot be adulated. He's the weasel. Weasel behavior cannot be congratulated. It cannot
yeah,
be like there's a weasel in every movie, right? Where the protagonist gets caught up in some stuff because there's this weasel on the street who dimes him out on something. That's who Great Guard is.
yeah.
Um,
My thing
I don't
is
know.
it needs to
Go
be
ahead, Rod, sorry.
equal. Yeah, it needs to be equal across the board. Like too many times I've seen black players, black coaches who do something get a huge, I mean, not only penalties as far as the sport they play, but I see these comments and I see certain things in the media, and they don't just want to take their livelihood of playing sports. They want to take their lives away.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they shouldn't play again, and they should never play again, and they shouldn't be able to write a book and make money, and they shouldn't be able to do anything ever again. And I'm like, really?
Because they didn't
Because
want
we've
them there
seen
in the first place.
this is not a first time occurrence in sports. This happens in lines. It's not publicized and it doesn't get any media coverage, but you'll see it on YouTube in like a high school handshake line, but this stuff happens. So we can't act like this is just kind of like a one-time occurrence because it happened to be televised on ESPN between two teams that are normally nationally ranked. That's the only difference. But this happens routinely. And it's not talked about, and no one gets 5 or 6 game suspensions. But I don't know if they were trying to make an example from him this season.
Oh yeah.
Or trying to say, hey Juwan, we're watching you. This is a message that you better chill out. I don't know. But and not saying he didn't deserve some kind of suspension, but like I said, when people were hollering, take his job, and I'm like, this is not a one-time thing. Coach has been going at it for years. A long time. Since I've been growing up, there were coaches that hated each other. It just wasn't on the internet back in the day.
Most coaches did.
Yeah, plenty of them.
Sportsmanship off the court, but man, listen, man. We are so much talking in the past. The fine would, and the exact same punishment would have happened in 1950, right? The reason why this did not go down is Jawan probably took his lawyer in there with Michigan's general counsel and said, look, you fire me, watch what happens. Not just his team, from a legal standpoint. There were coaches that fought. It was this year. Nothing of the same thing. The reason I brought up ABC and World News Now is because of the notoriety of the Fab Five. It made what the third most prominent Fab Five member. It thrust him into the national spotlight. Because I tell you something, as a Michigan man, look, when Juwan Howard got that job, we were shocked.
Yeah,
we were
definitely
shocked.
paid his dues for years. He should have had a job years ago. He's been on the bench for years.
Yes, all of that time in Miami. I wanted to post this quote that came up in my memories today when I spoke to Juwan the year. It's either the first year the Heat won or that next year, because he retired and became one of their coaches that next year. But I was talking to him, and he had went to Africa with I think it was Ron Artest at the time, and a few other. I think Jerome Williams was there, maybe, and a few other NBA players. And he was talking about how he has a responsibility to not only blacks here in the country, but across the globe. Juwan Howard is a man of his word. He told those kids, I got your back no matter what. He said that in every living room that he went into.
Yeah.
He exacted that at that game. I got your back. I don't care about these people, these cameras. The perception of Juwan Howard. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of CC Sabathia. If he finished this game, he would have gotten $500,000. The opposing team did something egregious the game before. He knew he had to pluck this batter. He hit the batter and lost $500,000. Okay, that to me is reminiscent of who you are. People say keeping it real goes wrong. No, it's who you are. That's who these people are. When they say something, they do it. They are not lying to you. If they say they're going to be who they are to your children, that's who they're going to be. CC Sabathia, in the same vein, was a soldier of baseball. He knew the rules. He had to do that. He had to do it.
So for those of you that don't understand what Mike is talking about, let me fill in really quickly. There's a code, or there are several codes, but there's a code in baseball that states that if something happened to a member of your team earlier in the game, the day before, whatever it may be, a lot of times you as a pitcher have to go out there and either throw at their pitcher, and we're talking about when you're pitching, or throw at that particular batter that did something. And in that instance, both sides, as we call them, had been warned. So as soon as CC Sabathia were to throw, if CC Sabathia were to throw at his player, throw behind the player, he was going to be immediately ejected. That had already been stated by the umpire. So it was a foregone conclusion that if CC Sabathia followed the code and essentially protected his teammates, showed that he could be counted on to carry the torch, to carry the flag, then he would be gone and he would miss out on that bonus. Okay, Mike, go.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, people, whoever's listening to this, see yourselves as more deserving of honesty and truth from everyone. Don't be these people who are just going to be subservient to evil. The only demography that was truly affected by this are all white men, right? The perception, the judgment. Juwan, you shouldn't be doing that. Fuck that shit, man. Yo, listen, we as people need to understand our prominence. And whenever someone disrespects our prominence and our responsibility to our children, they need to be checked. I'm tired of my media peers, specifically, all these people that I know personally. Their initial response is protective of that demography. White men. Look, we all need money. We all need money to survive, to have a healthy life and maybe have a vacation home that we can go to on the weekends or in the summertime. Of course, that's stuff that we want. The people who came before us, that we stand on, all those people dead in the Atlantic Ocean, we still have a responsibility to them. And the only way we can do that is to empower ourselves, to stand up to undo criticism. It's immediately noticed. And I get so disappointed from my media brethren. I know why they do it. It's like, again, asking NFL players to boycott, to stop. They all have their individual reasons why they were playing NFL football. And it started from probably when they were 6, 7 years old. I get it. I get it. But what I am noticing, and despite me not living in the past, it seems like this has always been the problem for the revolutionaries. The majority of our citizens, our people, our families did not agree with revolution. Why are we still going through all this time and all this time and all this time? Generations, great grandparents and great grandkids, all going through the same shit. We can look 50 years, 150 years into the future. What do we think, or how do we think this is all going to change in that time if it hasn't changed 150 years in the past?
Right.
Why are we so quick to speak to their comfort? There should have been a war in the media between black and white as to what the cause and effect was. Let them go. We're not talking about this. We do not have to be looked at as the brute, the ape, the gorilla, which they always want to paint us as.
Yeah.
Even a Juwan Howard, we know is a docile, not a docile man, just an aware and intelligent man. He sees what will happen if I do this, or if my team do this. If Chris Webber dunks on somebody and points in their face, what's going to be the cause and effect? Juwan sees that. He looks in the future. He handles it in the future. So when the moment happens, there's chill. That's who he is as a man. His wife's the same way. Jace and his other son, they're all like very even keel people, almost as if they were NFL quarterbacks who have to have an even keeled mind. That's how Juwan is. That's why I think he would be such a great coach, because he knows and he sees all. So when the moment happens, he'll respond. This year, he was very frustrated. This team has underachieved. It's both been the players and the coaching staff's fault, which he will sit and say, it is my responsibility as the leader. He's going to handle and wear what's happening to Michigan this season. He's already said that. He's already done it. This is my fault. Now, the crazy thing is this, despite maybe an Ohio State game that it's going to be a tough one for Michigan to win, I think they'll win their last 3 out of 4. I don't know if you guys have noticed him, but this kid Caleb Houston he's going to be a superstar. He just doesn't understand that he is one. So they're playing below their capabilities. I think when he scores 13 points or more, they're undefeated this season. Diabate, who's an excellent, long, tall, aggressive, shot blocker at the rim, and also he's the one that was also suspended, as well as Terrence Williams, who's their brawn, off the bench. All of this stuff, this team will be galvanized. I kind of feel sorry for anybody they have to play further going in. I'm not saying that Steve Fisher is about to happen, y'all. Okay? I'm not saying that Michigan's going to get in the tournament and all of a sudden win it all. I wouldn't be shocked.
Got you. So we talk about underachieving, and we'll go from Big Ten to Pac-12. And, Mike talked about preseason top 5. Well, first of all, shout out to my pops. He's on today, AC Senior.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
UCLA, and in a land in which we're looking at the last 10 years, and you expect the UCLA women to thrive, and you expect the UCLA men to be kind of ho-hum or humdrum. It was supposed to be different this year. They were both supposed to battle for national supremacy, and the men started off well, got the big win against Villanova, fell short against Gonzaga, got the next win, and basically perennial top 5 for most of the early half of the season, early half of the season. And then they went to Arizona, the state of Arizona, and lost to the University of Arizona, and then lost to Arizona State. And they acted, and then the media, well, let's get back to this, acted like UCLA had lost like 7 games in a row. They dropped them all the way down to 13. But I don't know. Maybe this is actually who they are. I don't know. UCLA is probably going to go in as a 4 seed, and they're going to have to do some work, because they're going to have to face some big time teams a little earlier than they probably expected. And I know that Rodney has a lot to say on this, because Rodney seems to have time to watch them more than I actually do. But cats are just not playing, and I'm not even making a joke, but cats are just not playing hard. Like, I'll let Rodney talk about it, but this is we're talking about the men, and the women are not even going to make the tournament unless they win the Pac-12 tournament. And the women were supposed to battle for the Pac-12. They were supposed to be in talks of winning national championships. And no shade to HBCUs, but I think UCLA's women have lost to like 3 HBCUs or something close to that. It's just been a really tough ride. They're 500. The UCLA women are 500, and they were preseason number 8. So I don't think that the powers that be can be that wrong about how it should have been. So got a couple underachieving folks there. But I want to transition to someone who's not underachieving, and she just doesn't underachieve, and she just really does uplift the sport. She uplifts the sport while obviously uplifting her team. And Mike's had some time. I followed her entire career, but Mike's had some time to spend time with her throughout the years. And I just want to show you guys this video of her with her team yesterday. And you guys probably know who I'm talking about, but just the same, I'll leave you in a little bit of suspense until I can pull it up. This is the great one having a ball with her team at practice as they run the nation in women's basketball and absolutely run the SEC.
Go ahead, Philly.
It's Dawn Staley. Is she teaching or learning? Like she's putting on a clinic.
This is balance. Okay, you got Pat Summit and you got Dawn Staley. Both achieving the same goal. Both are right in what they do.
There it is. Wanted to share that. Just Dawn Staley, amazing. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but Dawn Staley also knowing what we're dealing with in the media. Mike's talked a lot about it. Mike is always talking a lot about it. But when you have the narrative that maybe Aaliyah Boston is not the national player of the year because you have the player at Iowa State who is outscoring everyone, including Aaliyah Boston, but they're not playing anyone. The Queens of the Hill, if you will, South Carolina, have 10 top 25 wins, and they've beaten. Well, their loss was to an unranked SEC foe to open up. They lost to Missouri to open up SEC play, and Aaliyah Boston is a double-double machine and is the best player in college basketball. And if she were to come out early, she would be the number one pick. She's not coming out early, so she's not going to be the number one pick this year. But there's a narrative that maybe she's not the top player in college basketball just because of what the kid at Iowa State is doing. And Dawn Staley said something to the effect of, if I have to stop concentrating on coaching my team to show you guys exactly what Aaliyah Boston is bringing. Why did I say it like that? Aaliyah Boston is bringing to Boston. Aaliyah Boston is bringing to the table. Then I will. Like, I'm focused on my team, but if you want me to just focus on her, then I will, because it's that important to me. She is the national player of the year. And when you have someone who rides for their team like that, someone who's been there and done that, someone who went to 3 Final Fours in a row, someone who's won at the highest level, won in the Olympics, been to finals in the ABL, excuse me, coached to a national championship, and just basically been the benchmark for point guards for the last 35 years. You find yourself in a situation where it's like, wow, you're taking the time to stand up for your player. You've done all of this, but you know how important this is to keep the narrative right where it should be, like the truth, like not let a narrative run. And you have to love that about Dawn. Were you about to say something, Mike?
Yeah, Dawn Staley is Juwan Howard. They're the same player. They're the same coach. I'm gonna tell you something right here, and I don't care who disagrees with me. Dawn Staley will be the GOAT if she's allowed to continue her career like this with the immeasurable recruiting that she's able to do. She will be the GOAT because she will have multiple championships on her mantle. This Juwan has already proven that he's a recruiter. He just has to get to the championship game a couple more times to win it. He just got to get there. They probably will. Like, I don't think anybody's dismissive of that. Dawn Staley is she's an incredible soul model. Incredible soul model. She's an incredible soul model here in Philadelphia. Kids who never saw her play or follow her. And that's, to me, is kind of the same thing that's happening with Juwan Howard. A lot of people don't remember. They didn't see the Fab Five play, but they're seeing the effect of his prominence and him being able to teach young people. Obviously Dawn is a lot more, open and extroverts in what she does. Jawan just kind of sits back in the corner, crosses his legs, puts his arm around his girl, and takes it all in. He'll have a toast for you every now and again. That'll be his contribution to the discussion. Dawn Staley is an incredible player, and I will not stop short in offering, her potential as to what she can be when she gets out of here as a coach. I think that, her future is bright, and I will speak about her as the GOAT potentially, instead of just saying she's just an upstart. It's just a new thing. That's what they do to us.
Right.
It's the same thing they're doing with. Look, y'all, I don't watch NFL football no more. Y'all know that. This kid, Malik Willis, that they're already downplaying, he's Cam Newton. He is Cam Newton with the same arm. They're propping up dude from North Carolina and dude from Pittsburgh as the guys, right? And what these outlets will do, they'll show Malik Willis's face in the conversation about Pickett and the other guy, right? But they won't fully articulate how great this dude is. In a year where they're saying it's a weak crop, this dude is super gifted to where he should be the number one player picked in the draft over my dude Aiden Hutchinson. They do the jobbo on the other side, is not getting as much clout and speak of Hutchinson. He's just as good. So even with my own school, I see a bias there. They're trying to prop Hutchinson up more than this African who's a beast. He is a beast. And the reason why I say when you have them both on the field or you have them one on the field, you see the impact of when the other player isn't on the field. These players are crazy defenders, and I think that I hope that Hutchinson is really good, but I think that the other guy's gonna be better. But this is what I'm saying. From my media perch, how do I continue in a society that does not write us in the right realm? There's always a suspicion of us. Cam Newton's 14-1. Is he the MVP? That's what they were saying. Like, is he the MVP? Meanwhile, the last 2 years, Aaron Rodgers should not have won it 2 years ago. It should have been Patrick Mahomes. People can say whatever. Maybe Aaron Rodgers won it this year. I don't know. The dude just doesn't make mistakes, but he doesn't make the risky throws. He don't throw no ball into no tight windows like Brett Favre did. He has a very great arm, but you see his interceptions are way down. He's very talented. He does not throw the risky pass. The way people talk about Aaron Rodgers is he's the best quarterback ever. Okay, he has won Super Bowl. He has won Super Bowl. One. But this thing, Aaron Rodgers, despite all the vaccination talk, and the opposite of what they did to Kyrie Irving, they do to him. They're talking about how the Green Bay Packers should welcome him back with open arms and give him everything he needs now. I'm tired of these white dudes, y'all. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of them.
All right, so Mike brought us to the NFL. My dad is on, so let me give you guys some background.
Sorry, Pops.
No. It's no. Listen. He should be apologizing. So he raises me a 49er fan, and I'll give you the backstory. He had season tickets with his dad to the Rams and in the Coliseum, and they moved so far. You want to tell the story? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're doing wonderful.
So they moved so far away to Orange County, and I know it was far back then, back in the days of
Anaheim
Easy
was
Rollins
a
and
million years away.
I want to deal with the
Wow.
white folks than it was how far away it was.
yeah. So they move, and the Rams move, and so I don't know what my grandfather did, but my dad becomes a 49ers fan. So I, like in the division and everything. So I'm raised a 49ers fan, and I think that's it is what it is. It was on par with being a Lakers fan.
Mm.
Yep.
These dudes moved back, and then my dad calls me and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go back to the Rams," and he kind of tied it in. Like at the time, he was kind of tying it in to Kaepernick, and
That's exactly what I did.
He didn't like. He was ill-informed on some points though, so I did clear the points up before he made a declaration that he was a Rams fan. But he'd already made his mind up, and I know that he puts it with the Kaepernick thing. But the main thing was he was like, "Oh, they shouldn't have cut him," and I was like, "No, he opted out of his contract." And I don't want to get on Kaepernick.
No,
right
it wasn't.
now. Shout out to Kaepernick.
He didn't get the support that I thought he should get from the support for him taking a knee because Black Lives Matter. That was the whole crux of the thing for me. They did not support him. He supported Black Lives Matter, and they turned their backs on him. So screw the Niners. That was me.
All right. So he went to the Rams. He didn't just leave. He went to the Rams because he felt that the Rams would have supported Colin Kaepernick. I don't know. Like it just didn't.
Rams. That's it.
It just didn't add up for me. But I didn't. I mean, I made a lot of jokes about him leaving. I called him a traitor and all of that.
You called me a traitor. That hurt.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It didn't hurt you. You went back. You went back to the Rams. Like all I know is the 49ers, and you're like, and then you like, do you want to come? No, I don't want to come because my whole life I've been a fan of one team. So when my daughter runs down the stairs and says 49ers, what I look like being a Rams fan. So anyway, I'll give him the platform to say how he feels now that his, and only his, on this podcast anyway, his Los Angeles Rams have brought a championship home to he and his, but not in the Coliseum because they moved again, but clearly he was okay with them moving this time because I guess they didn't leave the county, but even though they left the city. But go ahead.
No, it wasn't that. It was like Pops didn't want to drive to Orange County. That was it. He's not, okay. I'm not going to Orange County. That was that, So, I got to go with Pops. He had season tickets, then they moved. He's like, forget about it. So I had to make a decision.
So you don't get credit for well, I guess you do because I get the Red Sox credit. So I guess you still do get credit for the 5 championships when you were a fan. All right, we won't hold that against you, but just so everyone understands, it's a little further to San Francisco than it is to Orange County. I just want to point that out. So, but I guess you're saying since I wasn't going to drive to see a team, I might as well choose a different team. And so you chose the 49ers. Well, I still say whatever prompted you to be a 49er fan, thank you for that because
it was my dad's
I would hate being a Rams fan. I just would. I've never liked them. I've liked a lot of the players. Like I've really liked Eric Dickerson. I wasn't a big Marshall Faulk fan, even though he went to San Diego State. I don't know what it was. It was. I didn't have anything against. I think it was because of the Rams. But I liked Dickerson, independent of the Rams. I liked Torrey Holt. I liked Isaac Bruce. I don't know. I don't know why I held things against Marshall Faulk. My bad, Marshall. Shout out to you. You were great. But yeah, congratulations to you and the Los Angeles Rams. Enjoy it. It'll probably be another 35 years before you guys get another one.
Yeah.
There you go.
No.
What's up? Oh, 32,000 feet. You on a pole? No, 32,000 feet is definitely not on a pole. 32,000 feet. You in space?
Fly high, brother.
What's 32,000 feet away? Somebody help me.
He's in a plane somewhere.
We're in a plane. Above the clouds.
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
What happened? Are you guys talking?
He's in a plane.
I don't know. I can't hear. All right, let me figure this out. Somebody go ahead and you guys go ahead and talk.
You can hear us?
Hello, hello, test, test.
I can hear everyone.
I can hear everyone.
You good, Mike?
I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, since we skipped to the NFL, I'm just going to say, and since we haven't been on in a few weeks, I'm going to say that Pro Bowl needs to be scrapped.
Oh yeah,
That
for
was
sure.
the worst piece of football, if you want to call it that I've ever seen in life. They shouldn't. And I guess we're going to probably jump to the NBA too next, but those All-Star games, they're no good.
No.
And I keep hearing, well, Rod, they don't want to get hurt, so don't play. If you get on the field, play. And if you don't want to get hurt, don't play. They'll find someone to put in your spot.
Yeah.
And it may not be somebody that the fans are really familiar with, but you'll have some people who are playing. But let the running back just run, and if you can catch him, tag him with two hands. You don't have to put on uniforms for that. If you're gonna play tag, just put on a t-shirt and some shorts.
Yeah.
And use flags and play flag football. But
can you imagine if Sean Taylor was playing today?
Rest in peace.
Man.
He would probably go up and smack somebody offensive lineman. Yo, block me and do something. This is football.
And so
I didn't watch the game.
Were talking.
Go ahead, man.
AC and I were talking about the NBA All-Star game, and we were talking about competitiveness. And I posted on Facebook a little clip of Kobe when they were playing Spain in the Olympics. And you can hear Kobe talking Spanish because he spoke like 5 different languages. And you could hear him speaking Spanish to what's that guy's name?
Oh man, Kobe talked to me about this, and so did the Spanish guy,
Scola,
Luis Scola.
Oh,
he's going at Scola like, yeah, I'm getting ready to wreck you. And LeBron is like, no, Kobe, come on, chill out, man. Let's just play ball. And Kobe is like, no, I'm turning this up a notch. And my point to AC, as far as the players is concerned, is when you're competitive and you're out there, Mike, whether you were playing baseball or I was playing basketball, running track, or AC was playing football or whatever he was doing, you don't know how to turn it off.
No.
If you are a real competitive athlete, you only know one way.
That's right.
Go hard.
Yeah.
When Dwayne Wade hit and broke Kobe's nose in the All-Star game, they only knew one way. Mm-hmm. When you look at previous games, with Ewing, with Olajuwon, with David Robinson, they were playing for supremacy. Because that position was stacked. The power forward position with Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, those positions were stacked. Reggie Miller, Michael Jordan, Kobe, those positions are stacked. And you could make an argument for any one of them besides, like I said to AC, Jordan and Magic's positions were solidified. And those were the 2 players where I don't care who else was in the NBA, you're not starting over them. It's a wrap.
Right.
Which is why I hate the fact that Magic gets slighted in this GOAT conversation. I hate it. I know people get caught up in Jordan's highlights because he was, flying and looking pretty on his dunks and all of that. But Magic completely changed the game.
Yes.
And they have been trying to get Showtime in the NBA since Magic left. So they've changed the rules to try to make it faster because the Showtime Lakers were the gold standard of the NBA.
Mhm.
Everybody wanted to see Magic run a fast break. Everyone wanted to see Worthy finish at the end.
Oh, yes.
The whole world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he gets slighted because he wasn't a dunker. And I don't understand that. And I ask people, when did LeBron pass this man? When?
Let me tell you why. So the first question I would ask you is, who should be higher on top list, Kobe Bryant or Magic Johnson?
Considering they put Kobe at like number 10 or 12, definitely Kobe.
Okay, so this is how I see Magic and Bird. I think that Julius was slighted because he helped save both leagues, right?
Definitely slighted.
He comes into the NBA and saves the NBA. He changes the whole perception. He goes into Portland Trailblazers locker room and congratulates them after putting up, I think he had 46 in the loss in a series that the Sixers should have won. Right? Why they didn't win? There's a lot of rumors. You know what I mean? It's weird here in Philadelphia when we talk about that 77 series. You're coming off the bicentennial where the whole nation was looking to Philadelphia. You know, I remember riding through Philadelphia in a Chevy Nova and asking my dad, a doctor plays basketball? You know, so that's how that began here in Philadelphia. Now, with Julius being the best basketball player in the world at that time, despite playing in the ABA, and he won the 2 championships and 3 MVPs, and Rick Barry was in between them. I just had a conversation with Rick Barry the other day about the post, but Gene Shue and Larry O'Brien both asked Julius obviously to cut his afro down and to stop being such an individual player, which they saw in the finals. Doc did not win Rookie of the Year that year. Okay? He did not win it. They wanted Doc to be an ambassador of the game, to bring all of the ABA fans to the NBA. You remember Spencer Haywood was doing it. I think he was like 30-20 around this time. Crazy stuff, for Denver. Instead, so we see, and we all saw it because we watched the games. I was so enamored with Indiana State and the way Larry Bird can shoot the basketball. He was great at shooting the basketball. And then you got Magic doing the same thing in Michigan State, and these dudes are all 6'9", 6'10". They're showing us a different version of basketball. That basketball should stay in the era that it is. Because now, with all of the technology and advancements of athleticism, those players are primitive. LeBron James, when he slows down, is essentially Magic Johnson. Passing ability. And he can still play defense, though. That's the difference. Okay? Magic was not a defender as LeBron. Come on, man. You're not going to say that, right?
I don't make them equal on defense.
Okay, that's the difference because of the advancements of technology, and also that you have Michael Jordan being the sole model for these guys from a defensive standpoint. Okay, Julius was the cool dude. He did play defense in the ABA. Once he came to the NBA again, he was this ambassador dude. Defense skipped over him. Mike came in saying, look, I got to prove to this league that's trying to diminish me that I can play defense. Okay? I'm facing Detroit. They beat the shit out of me all the time. I got to play defense too. Mike settled and played defense. Kobe came along and played defense. That's the difference to me over Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and Julius Erving. Okay? It's a defensive thing. Okay, you have to have.
Yeah,
those
Because
dudes were very smart. They were very smart defensively. You know, they would poke their hands and different things and steal balls. Obviously, both were great rebounders, which is part of defense. Okay, it's part of defense. But when you put them mano a mano on a superstar, they're going to get dogged. No matter what era you place them in. Okay, you cannot say that about this new generation of defenders.
No, they don't play
They
defense.
can play defense. They can play defense in 1942 or 2082. It's not to say that Larry Bird and Magic Johnson weren't the top. Okay, but as we start to evolve, like I'm trying to speak objective here. I'm a big Magic Johnson fan. I'm becoming a Larry Bird fan historically. When he was laying on a ground with his back all messed up, that's when I started becoming a Larry Bird fan, because I started to reflect on what he gave to the game of basketball and where he came from and how the narrative of him was skewed, basically because he's a white dude, even though he played as a black dude. And he would say that. He would admit it to you all the time. Black people taught him how to play the game. I do not feel, and I will never feel, that Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were the defenders of the other players that they're mentioned with, including Tim Duncan, Wilt Chamberlain, Hakeem Olajuwon. We can say Moses Malone. We can even say Shaq. You weren't going straight through Shaq.
Shaq doesn't get mentioned in the GOAT conversation.
Yeah, he doesn't. I'm saying in terms of a defender, you know what I mean? Shaq is undervalued as a defender as well. Shaq was a little bit lazy, superstardom, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, he could have been a better rebounder and he could have been a better shot blocker, but he did enough. You weren't going through Shaq.
Yeah, but
he would knock you on your ass.
Depending on who Magic is guarding, you can say the same thing. And Magic was always in the top of the steals in the NBA.
But see, okay. So I'm glad you said that. So is Allen Iverson. So is Steph Curry.
Right.
That's opportunistic defense based on your wingspan in the middle of the floor. You're going to get deflections. Okay. Of course, deflections are an intelligent part of the game. You have to know the game to get the deflection. I truly understand that. Like, I truly understand that. But we cannot, for time, confuse Magic Johnson and Larry Bird as defenders of anybody else in the top 10.
Yeah,
like
but I don't put
probably top 20.
I don't put Bird on Magic's level because Magic beat him several times. College, pros, didn't matter. My point is Magic Johnson completely changed the NBA.
So did LeBron, though.
How?
Huh?
How? Huh? How did he change?
Every team now was made to beat LeBron. The Golden State Warriors, who everybody's crediting Steph Curry with changing the game, were made to beat LeBron James.
But LeBron made his team to beat everyone else.
It wasn't just LeBron.
But there wasn't nobody
no one's
else.
ever done that.
Hold on.
No one's ever done that.
Hold on. Let's talk this out. Okay? Because we all know the history of LeBron in this conversation, right? Okay?
Yeah.
Y'all Lakers fans, right?
I'm a basketball fan.
Okay, but y'all Lakers fans too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so there's going to like me talking about Wilton, Doc, Iverson, Chuck. There's going to be some slight bias that comes in. When I talk about those players.
Doc was my favorite player growing up.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand.
I don't think there will be any LeBron bias here.
How
there
you
won't be any LeBron bias here.
How y'all visualize Magic as being the total player more than LeBron?
Well, we see that's
Well, Magic
that's
could
the
guard
hit.
five. No matter what you say, Magic could guard five.
Come on,
positions.
y'all. Come on, man. Come on. Listen,
That's
man.
the
Listen,
hit.
listen,
That see,
listen.
wait.
Listen. Hold
Before
on.
we
Let me
go
just say
there,
this one thing.
You
Let me
did
say
it.
this one thing. Because I'm trying to keep this conversation sane here. Really, I'm trying to keep it sane here. Magic Johnson nor Larry Bird was ever even.
Why do we keep saying Magic
considered-
Johnson and Larry Bird? We've
were
never even said Larry Bird's
okay,
name on this
I'm trying to
podcast. Why you keep
I'm trying
bundling
to
him?
keep it
Bundling
in
him?
the same non-athletic box. That's why I'm saying it. Okay, they were never even considered to be a defensive player of the year. Have you ever even heard Magic being all defensive player?
never.
That wasn't his thing.
Never.
Never.
Okay, that is that. So what that is doing is cutting off half of the court. It's cutting off half of the court.
No, it wasn't, because he wasn't a liability on defense. There are people who are actually
Okay,
liabilities
I'm
on
not
defense.
calling him a liability. Okay, come
So
on.
then you're not cutting off half the court.
Listen,
Because
it's
he
cutting off half the
wasn't
court.
thought of as a defensive player of the year doesn't mean he didn't play defense. Now, there's a lot of guys
That
in the
just-
NBA who play really good defense.
What I'm saying to
weren't
all of
on
you
that
is
level.
this. What I'm saying to all of you is this. What is the gap between Magic Johnson and LeBron James defensively? We're on record here, okay? Y'all say you're going to speak objectively. Speak objectively. What is the now? Don't go off the narrative that says LeBron James doesn't have 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards that he should have won. Okay, we all know this because we watched the game. 24 news cycle is different now.
Don't
Okay,
do that. Don't
yes,
do
we
that.
are doing that because that.
You're not gonna.
I've
Don't tell me
never-
what I know about
Who
him
won
missing
the-
something.
Who won the Defensive Player of the Year awards when LeBron should have won them?
I don't know. I can't think past Steve Nash's MVP awards. So I'm
Well,
still stuck on that. I'm not talking about
I can
defensive
tell
player
you
of
won
the
in
year.
1950. You know what I'm saying? The dude from Memphis. Gasol.
Marc Gasol.
Okay, come on, man. Like the point that you.
But you
guys
can't just
made
do that.
earlier-
Who else was in the running that year? We can't just talk about who won it. We
Listen,
can with
man,
the MVP.
listen,
Who else
we're
was
not
in the
gonna do
running
this
for
either.
that?
We're not gonna do this great debater stuff either. Okay, we all knew from watching the game who the best defensive player in the league was the years that LeBron didn't win it. All I gotta do is bring up all the chase down blocks that he was doing either during the year or in the playoffs. They were ridiculous stuff. Okay, and when you look at the NBA highlights, when they show the NBA highlights from start to finish, you will see at least one LeBron chase down block.
Right, but that doesn't make you a great defender.
It doesn't make you a great defender, but what it does, it galvanizes your team defense to where you're never out of a play.
But
even when your man gets beat,
be said, it's sexy, but that can be said the same way if Magic pokes the ball from a ball handler and gets a fast break and gives it to Worthy for a dunk. A turnover is a turnover.
Magic has led the league in steals. Magic has led the league in steals. That's defense,
the
right?
thing about it is Magic's defensively was not sexy. When you have Magic guarding forwards and people his size, Magic was a solid defender. Magic couldn't guard small guards, and LeBron doesn't guard small guards. Jordan got killed by small guards.
He does it now.
Hold on.
He does it now. In his athletic prime, he did.
Jordan,
he absolutely did.
Hold on. Jordan, who won Defensive Player of the Year, got smoked by small guards every time. We saw what Dana Barros did to Jordan. We saw what Abdul Rauf did to Jordan. You can go down the list of guards that were 6 feet tall. Iverson, that Jordan could
everybody though. They're going to kill everybody.
And head to head, when Magic and Jordan faced each other,
but they didn't kill
tried
everybody.
to guard Magic in the finals. Magic killed him. He made Jordan look like he didn't have any defense and almost fouled him out of every game until Phil would say, "You know what? We got to switch this to Pippen and let MJ double Magic with Pippen." Because remember, in the 91 finals, Vlade Divac was a rookie who really didn't have any skill. And the Lakers were rebuilding, so they put MJ.
That was Magic. That was a year that Magic straight put the Lakers on his back. Like I am not critical of that 91 team at all. I'm not critical of the 91 team.
What I'm saying is, what Magic did to completely change the NBA, he should be mentioned, whether you like his defense or not. He should be mentioned in the GOAT conversation because he completely changed the NBA to the point where they have been trying to get that back for the entire NBA since he left. That's my point.
I'm not saying that it shouldn't be in a GOAT conversation. Like that would be stupid to say. Like he's an incredible player. He's not. No one
talks about Magic in the GOAT conversation. And my point is, they even skipped LeBron over Magic, like LeBron did more in the NBA than Magic did. He's had a longer career, but he's formed teams to get the 4 titles he got. Right, Magic played with his team organically.
See how, like, y'all talking to the wrong dude here, because I'm going to how I see sports. I go year by year, almost game by game. Like I don't see the past as a shadow, as a fog. I was taught this by Bob Ryan. My memory has to be excellent. Okay, it has to be excellent. When I go back and see Julius like doing whatever you want to do when they try to put Magic on him, or when they would sometimes switch Andrew Toney, you know what I'm saying? If Michael Cooper was guarding Doc, you know, I never saw Magic as a great defender player. I never saw it because I said, especially when the Sixers played the Lakers, I knew that the defensive liability was Magic Johnson. Whoever Magic was guarding was going to have a game.
If they were a small point guard,
they were going to have a game. I'm talking about the Sixers. Like this is what I'm seeing, you know.
But normally that was their point guard. But on the flip side of that, Magic had a mismatch on the other end because he was going to take them to the post and get them in foul trouble
every time.
It works both ways. It works both ways.
No, it does not. It does not. It does. This is what happens.
If Mo Cheeks gets in foul trouble, 2 quick fouls in the first quarter, they have to take him out.
I never saw that happen though. Like I never saw that happen
because they double and triple team Magic.
No, they were not. Not the Sixers.
You got to watch that game. You got to watch those games.
All the series.
Magic always got a double and triple team.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar
once he started going to the post,
the Lakers.
He always got triple team.
Right? He killed the Sixers. Now we could talk about 1980 till we're blue in the face. You know, Magic was the man in that series as a rookie. Like the thing is, I'm giving y'all what Magic is. Like I'm telling y'all how great he is on an all-time level. Like you with the face up there, man. the little cheeks that you got going on there, AC Carter Jr. You know,
I'm just trying to. We're all just trying to understand where you're going with this.
What do you mean where I'm going with
because LeBron in his first 8 seasons.
Now,
LeBron in his first 8 seasons.
The reason why I was bringing up the years,
killer instinct.
The
Magic won a championship.
Up the years is this
with Kareem at home.
We can talk about the 66 game season where LeBron took us 4 to the finals, right?
I don't agree with that.
That's not true.
That's a narrative that I do not agree with.
And I'm surprised. I'm surprised that you feel that way.
Who was on that team?
Wow.
Who was on that?
Hold on.
Against the Spurs.
The first 10 of Cleveland?
Yes.
Ilgauskas?
Against the Spurs. Who was on the team?
Ilgauskas was on the team? Tristan Thompson?
No, we talking about the first Spurs team when they faced the Spurs.
I'm trying to figure out the Cleveland team that you're talking about.
I'm bringing it right
now. Because the narrative is always LeBron didn't have any help.
Y'all have this thing.
Hold on.
Y'all have this thing against LeBron.
No.
So y'all have this thing against LeBron. So you're not going to say that the team that he faced versus the Spurs sucked? Like there were no other All-Stars on that team.
I don't think that any team that's ever made it to the finals sucked. I'm
Right.
going with that.
So
Right.
okay.
Ever.
The pushback here is that's the reply you're going to have.
Timing.
Okay, Rodney.
Timing. I don't know how that happened, but that's weird.
What'd you do,
'Cause
Rodney?
I was waiting to hear his
What'd
point.
you do, Rodney?
But my thing is,
All right, I'll here.
LeBron-
Shannon Brown, Boobie Gibson, Drew Gooden, Larry Hughes, Zajunas Ilgauskas, LeBron James, Damon Jones.
Exactly my
Didn't
point.
Didn't he trade
has
for him in Houston? Didn't he trade for him in Miami? Dwayne
He had
Jones, Danielle
sharpshooters
Marshall,
on his team.
Ira Newble, Pavlovich, Scott Pollard, Eric Snow, Verajao, David Wesley.
Was Verajao a borderline all-star when he played with Cleveland? They were pushing for Verajao to be an all-star. He was basically in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. Ilgauskas was an all-star. He was one of the top centers in the league. Larry Hughes was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. He was an all-star. Gibson, all the other guys, they were sharpshooters. They spread the floor. You could not double LeBron because you would have to leave one of them. That's how they won 60-something games.
Compare the rest.
He just couldn't beat Boston.
Compare the rest of the conference to the Cleveland Cavaliers roster. Who played
so
in
much?
that- who played? Who were their competitors?
You
was Orlando.
know what their
It was
problem.
Orlando. Let's go back. Since I want to go here, I'm gonna go here with y'all. Right? Squad up in Boston, right? What did they have? Who did they have? Come on, y'all. Answer the question. Who did they have?
Paul Pierce, KG, and Ray Allen.
Okay.
He was never going to beat that. That's why he left.
Okay.
That's why he
did
left.
beat it. He did.
No. He beat it after he went to Miami and
Right,
grabbed Ray Allen from Boston.
So he got to the finals, right?
But he grabbed Ray Allen from Boston. If Ray Allen doesn't come to Miami, he'd have never seen the title.
Here we go with that.
He would have never seen the title. It's a fact.
Every team has somebody who makes a shot.
The Celtics were literally the last team in the East that year. They were 24-58. So that's not your argument. Orlando barely made the playoffs. They were 40-42.
Who did they beat to get there? Like
the Pistons,
this is against
the Nets,
that
and the Wizards.
Like a thorn in LeBron's side. That even was he 25?
So not his lack of killer instinct. That's not a thorn in his side. The fact that he becomes a general manager and trades for top 75 player, at least two top 75 players to come help him win championships. That's not the thorn.
As a black man who has written pro league blueprints, go get your money, black man. Go get your title. And your GOAT conversation suffers because of it. That's fine. Get your money. If it's not going to be given to you, take it.
Okay, then take your money. Get your money. Take your money. But let's not talk about GOAT.
Man, please.
There it is.
There it is. Listen. Since you're going to go here with LeBron, I'm going to go here with your heroes. Larry Bird, Julius Erving.
Can you stop saying Larry Bird? Julius Erving is literally your hero.
Kareem
Abdul-Jabbar. Literally your hero.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, anybody else that ever played on the Lakers were absolute fools. Okay? Because they gave everything of themselves to the leagues. Instead of saying, I need to empower myself in my pocket.
That's a different conversation.
It's not. It's the same conversation.
That's a different conversation.
It's the same conversation because it is realizing.
And even with LeBron playing,
shout out to
playing
one second.
Manager, he still only has 4 titles.
Shout out to Kurt Flood.
If Magic went somewhere where he got a chance to choose his roster, Magic would have had 10 titles.
Man, please, man, look at the squad that Magic had his whole career. Look at the squad he had.
His whole career? You just talked about 1991. Like 1991. His whole career?
Anthony Carter Jr.
And then let's not talk about Kobe and Smush.
Listen to me.
We don't want to. You don't want to do that.
We forgetting that Magic had Kurt Rambis as a starter. Just because he made him look good, we forgetting that he had Rambis as a starter, Kupchak as a starter.
There you go. Come
We
on,
forgetting
man.
that.
There ain't no household
We
names.
forgetting that Kobe had
Y'all,
to play with Swiss
y'all
Parker.
Laker fandom,
Those
y'all
are not
Laker fandom is
household
coming
names.
out in monster
Hey.
form.
Didn't LeBron win a championship in LA? It's not like I'm getting a refund.
As much as people holler about Bird, Kevin McHale was probably one of the best power forwards in NBA history.
Yes.
He was unstoppable. And you could not double team McHale, which means that the floor was open for Larry Bird to operate. And it's the same thing. And I have the same argument with MJ. Kobe never had a bona fide shooter when Bill Rice left. And MJ had several.
I give y'all that. That's the difference. I give y'all those points because they're valid and factual points. Okay? But to sit here and always seem to be like diminishing of this dude.
Just because we don't want to put him on the throne?
I probably written articles on this dude. I probably read about 50 articles.
My argument didn't start off with LeBron. You brought up LeBron.
I've heard
my argument was about MJ, about Magic being talked in higher regard. My argument wasn't about LeBron. You entered LeBron and Bird and Dr. J. My argument was I don't understand how Magic is not.
You said it though.
In GOAT conversation.
You said that LeBron just jumped over him. LeBron has jumped over him.
I did say
because of defense.
I did say LeBron jumped over Magic.
Defense, man. It's like a huge thing. And then we got this dude who's about to become the all-time leading scorer in the league. And he's going to be top 10.
Yeah, but y'all been calling him to go for 10 years, Michael. You've been calling him to go for 10 years.
I let y'all make your points. No, you didn't. Make mine. I let y'all make your points.
Go ahead.
And y'all know I like to talk. Right?
You got 60 seconds. Go.
Oh, we already at 9:40. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, look at all of the stats except for assists.
Right. I got to go to the golf course.
All right.
Thanks for coming through.
All right.
Thanks, Pops.
Man. Peace out.
Nice to meet you, Pops. Look at everything, like all the statistics except for assists. And LeBron's going to be top 10 in assists. He might be top 5 in assists.
Assists are different. Assists are different, by the way.
Different from a Magic time?
Yeah.
Yes.
They changed it for Stockton. They changed it for Stockton.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They did change it for Stockton. My fault. Okay. But they changed it for Oscar too. So it's Oscar to go. You know what I'm saying? They changed it for Oscar too. You know, so
no. The way you can get an assist changed. So and so I talked about this. You and Mike, you are up in age with me, so you know that back in the day, an assist had to be a pass directly to a shot. You couldn't put the ball on the floor. You couldn't do any of that. Once Stockton started getting a little name, a little recognition, they started allowing Karl Malone to take dribbles, turn around, and take a turnaround jumper. And they weren't giving the other guys those assists that they were giving Stockton. Now,
okay. This kind of relevant. This kind of relevant. This is irrelevant.
Wait.
This is irrelevant.
But this passed the stats of today's players.
This is a distraction to the conversation.
It's very relevant.
This is a distraction to the conversation.
It's very relevant because you said that LeBron is going to be top 10 in assists.
The conversation is this, okay? You cannot take nothing away from that man's assists. You can't take nothing away from the man's assists. So having a conversation about Stockton and assist rules, that's irrelevant. The point is this: he will be in that position. Okay, so Magic was so of a unique player. The evolution of Magic is LeBron James. It's not the evolution of Michael Jordan. It's not the evolution of Derek Coleman, the evolution of Steve Smith. But as people are saying about LeBron, Magic, he is the evolution of Magic Johnson. So
I would
okay,
say Steve Smith more than
the thing is this. what I'm trying to do in my life right now is to strip away all type distractions, meanings for responses, and so I'm going to put LeBron and Magic next to each other. Magic went through so much. Get the tragic Johnson stuff. You know what I mean? He came into the league in Kareem's absence and broke my little 12-year-old heart. Okay? I would never diminish what Magic Johnson is to the game of basketball, to sports, both while he was playing, before he was playing, and post Magic playing. I was enamored with Magic Johnson because as much as I dug the way Larry Bird shot the ball, I was glad that Magic beat him more than he lost to him. It wasn't all a black thing either. It was the fact that it kind of was the fact that the Bird was being elevated through the culture, in ways that he were in Rookie of the Year or, 3 straight MVPs, even with Magic in the league. Okay. One of the years that Bird won MVP, Magic was like 19, 9 and 9, something crazy. Like it was 9.7, some crazy stuff like that. He should have been the first dude to average a triple-double since Oscar. He should have been that guy. I don't know how it did not happen. And it may speak to the fact that he's not as selfish. I'm not taking anything away from Magic Johnson whatsoever. It would be irresponsible of me as a writer who's trying to be a writer of note to diminish anything that Magic Johnson did for the game. Because I have been such a strong opponent to Steve Nash winning his MVPs, the fact that even Jokic last year, I am trying in my life to be different than what the league is telling me to be from a 3-point and non-defensive standpoint. Okay, the league to me is becoming hard to watch because there isn't a semblance of defense. And the reason why there isn't more defense than it is because the stars who play aren't propped up as defenders. No one speaks about the greatness of LeBron James when he was in his prime defensively.
Too many people speak about it.
I'm speaking from a media standpoint. My peers, not fans, not people who know the game, my peers. Okay? That y'all can't tell me that it's different. I'm speaking about what they say and what they write, what they do. I've spent 6 months at a time during the seasons, a couple seasons in Cleveland, covered this dude extensively, spoken to him just many times. I got this interview that I found 700 interviews, y'all. One of these interviews that I found was me and LeBron talking in the locker room, as a DC locker room, about music, about Marvin Gaye. We talking about Marvin Gaye and the stylistics and all this stuff. And I asked him, who do you compare yourself to? And he said Jay-Z. This is like 2008 or 9. It's around that time. And I'm interviewing this dude with all the media around. And I say, yo, does that mean you're the best you are in the league? And he says, I just said Jay-Z was the best. The media laughs The media allowed me to interview this dude. I think it's like for five minutes. And if you cover the NBA, that's all of the time. What I'm saying is, whether it be Las Vegas, pre-Beijing, or Cleveland, him sitting in his locker reading a book, talking to his mom, I've gotten to know this dude more than I know Magic. Okay? With that, I begun to know his soul. Being in Cleveland and Akron, when I see 200, 300 kids following behind in bikes, you know, the whole thing about, you know, how he was giving his team his MVP trophy, speaking to AC, talking about his lack of killer instinct. I have been very critical of LeBron when he would come down the court, and he would do this often, where I was talking, texting, you know, and saying, look, man, this little double pump left-handed layup that you're doing, take one more step and dunk the ball. Okay? He began to do that. This is where in a society that hasn't been as critical for a basketball player over the course of time than it did with Wilt Chamberlain. Michael Jordan didn't live in a social media world, and neither did Magic Johnson. It's not to say that the world wouldn't have been as critical as they are of LeBron now. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this dude is the one who's living it. Criticism is crazy. They're talking about the man hair and toes and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? It's ridiculous. It was totally ridiculous. I don't know if the narratives of any of the past players pre-social media would be as they are if any of these dudes was in a social media era, to where everything you did, even Michael Jordan having a penchant for plump white girls, you know what I'm saying? That would have been in social media. That might have changed the perception of him, this, as it might have with Magic and everything that happened in the club. These dudes passed pre-LeBron, pre-Kobe. You know, we have a picture of them that isn't as dirty as we see players of this era. They are deified to no end. Or Larry Bird would have 3 MVPs, 3 consecutive MVPs. In my opinion, the media uses certain players to advance narratives. And Larry Bird obviously was one of them with those 3 MVPs. They did not give one of those to Magic, in my opinion, because Magic was too good. With also being good, he was a cheerful guy. You really couldn't have, Magic really didn't have no weaknesses from a media standpoint. But as you guys are saying,
that's also not true.
Well, man, listen, AC, when you say these things, think of the media narrative.
They used to kill him. Yes, the media narrative. They used to kill him for not being articulate.
Right. But what I'm saying, did you hear anything that I said? I said they use certain athletes for certain narratives. The Tragic Johnson stuff, the stuff that you're talking about, they use against Magic. Okay, which ultimately became him not being in a GOAT discussion is what I'm saying to you. When we have these discussions, y'all got to understand that only thing that I'm seeing because this is what affects history. Fan opinions don't affect history. They don't. The written word and what we see from the media affects history. That's what I speak to. That's what I'm trying to combat. Not the what you guys are saying that's factual, because you see it with our eyes. We understand that this is what happened because we see it. The eye test fits. I'm talking about what changes history from year to year, whether it be an editor, a publisher, or a writer. That's what I'm speaking to, because that's what changes things.
Yeah, and I think that so here's the issue, and we gotta close out now. But here's the issue. I think that because you've got in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think you've got a skewed view of what the media has written about LeBron James throughout his career. You talk about the stuff about his hair and the stuff about his toes, but all I've seen, both in my peers in the media, because I was a heavier writer when LeBron James came into the league. I was your peer when LeBron James came in, and then I took a step back when I started officiating. But all I've seen from his senior year of high school until now is that he was going to be the greatest player of all time. And then about 10 years ago, he became the greatest player of all time. And this is from the media. All they do is write that this dude is the greatest and doesn't have any weaknesses and hasn't ever had any weaknesses. So I don't see it the way that you see it. I don't think that the media is lacking any kind of
man, listen, hold on, man. Hold on. We got to close out. The media,
we got to close out now.
Almost amazingly says Michael Jordan is the GOAT. They don't say Wilt. Like, they say Mike, and that's it.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about LeBron James' career, which didn't include Michael Jordan. When you watch LeBron James, the media says greatest of all time, going to be the greatest of all time. In the discussion as top two, however you want to spin that, this dude hadn't even done anything, and he was already the GOAT per the media, or in the GOAT discussion.
I don't agree with that.
I know you don't agree. I said that. I led with that. You clearly don't agree with it. I believe that you have a skewed view of what the media have written about LeBron James throughout his career. Clearly, you don't agree with that.
Skewed? How is it? I've written, Anthony, you go to my site. I've written probably 50 articles on this dude and try to attack it from every angle. Like, after the decision, shit got messed up with LeBron. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? He didn't win MVP the next year when he deserved it. They gave it to Derrick Rose.
I'm not talking about an MVP.
What that's when stuff began to change with the decision.
What do you mean stuff began to change? You mean when he called his shot and put the team together?
You got to understand something.
They still talk about him being the GOAT.
I spent time in Cleveland after he came back. You know what I'm saying? After he came back, and it was really bad. It was like this really racist thing was going on in Cleveland, where they had these machines on every corner where you could basically disintegrate. What's the?
That's not the media. Yeah, like your point was the media.
No,
that's not
it is
the media.
You're not letting me finish. Let me finish, dude.
Well, you've been talking for 20 minutes, Mike. Like, share the mic. We got to close out. It's 9:57.
I'm trying to share the mic, but you're asking me questions. You're asking me to.
I didn't ask you anything. I commented on your statement.
Let's move on.
I made a comment.
Let's move on.
I didn't ask you anything.
Let's move on. Then you're right. Let's move on.
Close out. You got 60 seconds.
Hello, my grandbabies. Go ahead.
All right, Rob.
Hey, man, I'm glad got to see another year on the planet, man. But it hit me that my boy, who I had just worked with, lost his daughter the morning of my birthday, and that was the first news I got Friday morning. So shout out to Victor Dunhams, man. I couldn't imagine losing one of my children at a young age like that. I think Cheyenne was probably like early 20s, maybe. And I lost my longtime DJ partner who we had history with before there was a NWA and all of that. We would open for the Wrecking Crew at the skating ring with DJ Yella and some other folks. And moms would drop me off. It was Blood Central up there, so I couldn't get anybody from Long Beach to take us. We weren't getting paid. We were young, naive about the business of music and all that kind of stuff. And my boy Eugene Franklin, better known as T-Stone from Southside Chicago, he passed. So those two, man, you know, kind of hit me kind of hard. So I'm gonna just say, enjoy life. Enjoy the fact that we get to have these discussions and debates and still be able to take a breath after it's all over and be good with it.
Can't hear nothing.
So enjoy the weekend and let's get ready for this NCAA tournament.
Yes. Rest in peace to Victor's daughter. I actually called Rod on his birthday and completely forgot to wish him a happy birthday. Okay. Because of Victor's daughter. So I called Rod with that news, and then I had to call him back and say, oh, by the way, happy birthday. So sad. And Nina's comment, oh no, that's Nina finding out, because she's Victor's friend also. So very sad. Rodney mentioned that, and rest in peace to what? Go U of A and what? Oh, because of the tournament? The men or the women? Oh, probably the men. You don't like women's basketball. That's right. Nina doesn't like women's basketball. So she doesn't care about Adia Barnes. But Rodney, rest in peace to Rodney's friend, his DJ friend. And it was crazy that Rodney had the post about Long Beach DJs when his friend passed, and then all the people that he mentioned were commenting on people that inspired them. And you know, as someone who didn't come from that area by any means, I still felt a little something. I had, of course, Nina's clarifying that she means the men, because of course, why would she be a fan of Adia Barnes and women's basketball? Why would she be a fan of the team coached by one of the alums, one of the greats? You know, like we talked about Jawan with Michigan. By the way, the AD that Mike mentioned at the director of athletics for Michigan is also an alum of Michigan. He played football there.
Yes, he did.
Long Beach. Yeah, Nina loved that post. So you look at the Long Beach DJs. I have two friends that were DJs. My dad was a DJ. With his friend, and his friend passed away. So rest in peace to his DJ friend. But and that's funny. My dad's nickname was Tony, and the two friends that I have that are DJs are named Tony. So somehow DJing missed me. But shout out to DJ PRNS, who later became DJ PRNS largely because Prince was his favorite artist. But he later became DJ Why Not, YNOT, which is Tony backwards. So shout out to Tony Johnson, DJ Why Not, and shout out to DJ Dents, Tony Kenji. And you guys know of DJ Dents. He's the Clippers
Why not too?
DJ. Oh, you know Why Not too? All right, so those are my guys. You know, I literally went to Cookie Monster Day Camp at Rogers Park in Inglewood with DJ Dents. We had Cookie Monster t-shirts, and we'll never forget that. They had a Sesame Street theme, and we were together in blue. And then I went to St. Monica with DJ Why Not. So shout out to them. Listen, man, it's amazing being a dad. Mike knows this. Mike's been a dad longer than both of us. And then Rodney's been a dad longer than me. And a little over 4 years into this, you guys know, all of you who watch and listen, that Kayla is the light of my life. She's amazing. And everything that I do is for her. And I'll do anything necessary for her. So don't let the necessary occur. Yep. You guys understand what I'm talking about. For sure. Shout out to HardCorePeace, Mike Tillery, my guy. I love the fact that we have the heated debate and live to fight another day. We'll be back on next week. I'm gonna try to get these guys to go Saturday because Sunday's a travel day for me. I'm going to the East Coast and I got to fly in the morning, so I don't want to miss a week. So I'll talk to them and hopefully we can go Saturday and we can spend a little bit of time on LeBron James because Mike has some more to say. We want to let him get it off, and then we'll respond.
I don't need it. Nah, man, I'm good. Y'all
okay.
know where I'm coming
So
from.
all right. So we all for LeBron. We know that LeBron is in no danger of winning his fifth anytime soon. So that's a good thing when you talk about how I really feel.
But we actually got to get back to speaking about the NBA because the playoffs are coming.
Yes, we do.
Around the corner.
We didn't even talk about the trade. We didn't talk about Harden for Simmons.
I don't want to talk about that either.
We got to get we got to get on it. We got to talk about
narrative spin. I'm telling y'all what's going to happen with Philly.
We got to talk about the New York mandates and how the mayor loves Kyrie and wants to relax all the standards just so Kyrie can come back. We'll talk about that too. But in the meantime and in between time, if you work your thing, I'll work mine. I love y'all. Let's go out to some LTD, the number 2 song of all time. Oh, I didn't mean to play Canna again, although that's a classic too. Let's go to the number 2 song of all time, Love Ballad.
What a difference. That's my track.
Jeffrey Osborne.
Got to see him live in concert. He got hit after hit after hit.
Yes.
He kills it in concert.
Hey, when Rodney was closing out, he mentioned that before NWA, he and his DJ friends, what Rodney didn't tell you was before the alphabet. So before all the letters, when he was DJing. Hey, we love y'all. This episode 91 of the Collective Podcast.
We're going to take a shot and get out of Dodge.
Saucier Senior, HardCorePeace, and our guest host was AC Senior. Thanks to everybody that came through today. Elaine, Jimmy Mack, Cousin James, Roddy T, Roderick Tennell, and Nina Grubbs out of the state of Arizona. We appreciate y'all. And that t-shirt I showed you guys earlier. Actually, let me show it to you because I didn't say anything about it before. The guys know exactly what this is, but let me speak to it. This is these are great black coaches in the order that they became great black women's basketball coaches. So the first is C. Vivian Stringer, who was from Rutgers
University in Rutgers.
Yeah, and actually she spent some time at Iowa State too. But Rutgers legend, right? Rutgers absolute legend. Coached some of the all-time greats in basketball, and she opened a lot of doors for other black women's basketball coaches, such as Carolyn Peck, who spent some time coaching the Orlando Miracle in the WNBA, but whose claim to fame was coaching Purdue to the national championship in 1999. That was the year that we all thought that Tennessee would get their 4th championship in a row with Shamika Holdsclaw, Tamika Catchings, and Samika Randall. And Duke had other ideas. Duke beat them in the Elite 8, and so Tennessee didn't even make it to the Final Four that year. And so that Final Four, I was there. It was Louisiana Tech, Georgia, Purdue, and Duke, and Purdue beat Georgia in the final. And that was Ukari Figs at point guard, and she went on to play for the Los Angeles Sparks. But that's Carolyn Peck. Then you have Pokey Chapman, who coached also in the WA, but claimed to fame coaching LSU in the SEC, and Dawn Staley. I mean, come on, we don't have to talk about it. And then the new wave, which, I mean, it's still the wave for Dawn, and I do believe that she will be the GOAT. And I didn't get a chance to say that earlier when Mike brought it up, but I do believe that she's put herself in position to be that and bring Adia Barnes along for the ride Yeah, I love Tennessee too, Nina. They're still my fourth team. Tennessee's still my fourth team. But a quick quip. Carolyn Peck was given a piece of the net, I want to say by Renee Montgomery, when UConn won a championship. And she was like, yo, hold this until you win. And Carolyn Peck paid it forward. She won a national championship. And then when Dawn was in waiting, Carolyn Peck gave a piece of her net to Dawn. And Dawn kept that in her wallet until she won. And then the night that she won, when she saw Carolyn after she won, the night that she won, she talked about it in the press conference. And then when she saw Carolyn again, it was a photo moment when she gave that piece of the net back to Carolyn. But then Dawn has also given a piece of the net to Adia Barnes and some of the other up and coming Black coaches around, Black women's basketball coaches who are also women around the country. And it's just a really good network there. So shout out to them. Shout out to women's basketball as a whole, even though Nina doesn't celebrate women's basketball. But if you look at WBB Sport, they talk about women's basketball versus everybody. I officiate women's basketball, so does Rod. Nina doesn't watch it. It's okay. We love Nina. We love Mike. Shout out to all of y'all. Episode 91 of the Collective Podcast. Thanks for coming through. 2 hours and 9 minutes in. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We'll see you next week. Hopefully on Saturday if my guys can do it.